Welcome back to my very original review channel. Um, anyway, I got the bucket hat on today because this is a special occasion. I know it's a bit late, but we are reviewing the new Young Lean and Blade album, Psychos. Both artists who are in my top five on Spotify. I only like to review artists that like I really like or like really hate or like actually no, I don't know. I've only reviewed two artists, so the ones I really like. New ones about people that I don't like too much will come out. I don't know. I like reviewing stuff, but anyway, this isn't about me. This is about the two Swedish stoners, Young Lean, Blade, and both their gangs of other Swedish stoners who varying levels of melatonin in their bloodstream. Um, but for most of the members is decreasing rapidly with each word that they put on a track. That is a reference to a element of pop culture from the 2010s, and that's mainly what Young Lean has been known for. Blade has been known to just kind of get high and write lyrics, but Young Lean has a lot of pop culture references, usually from like more internet aesthetic. Young Lean and Blade both are known for their very like um, kind of web centric way of like their aesthetic at least. Blade has like kind of gotten a bit more spiritual over the years, and Young Lean a bit more kind of trippy as I see it, a bit more kind of polished, especially on releases like Stars and Stranger, where it's very clear that he's going what he's going for, but also still very experimental and fun. And both of those are some of my favorite albums from all of them. Even though I think I do like Blade a little bit more. I think I like the average Blade song a bit more than the average Young Lean song, but still both very talented artists, both very innovative artists, and both artists that you should be paying attention to. And that's definitely why you should listen to this album. Because I don't think this album was bad. I have a few complaints for sure. The intro track is not really a great representation of what the rest of the album is, but Young Lean's kind of known for that, and a lot of his intros being so just like kind of trying to shock you into like, oh, do you really want to listen to my music, especially with like My Agenda, Welcome to Unknown Death was a lot like the other album, but like still very not really showcasing his prime form, I guess. Same thing with a couple of his other albums. Um did really love the intro to Stranger though. That was a very introspective album. Um honestly, that's not really too much of a trend that I've seen like really in his work. Like it's either like really good intros or really bad intros. Blade is pretty consistent. But that the Flag is Raised is pretty overrated intro. It wasn't even one of my favorite songs on that album. But anyway, yeah, this one Coda is one of the two explicit songs. I think it was because Blade said putrid fucking evil, which was like kind of hit hard, but like he was kind of saying it in a weird Swedish way, so didn't hit as hard as like you know felt. I don't know. It's still pretty hit pretty hard in the whole song, but it's a spoken word track with like a bit of like synths and a bit of like acoustic stuff. That's a big theme on this album, very acoustic. I'm kind of getting like Pink Floyd vibes, like not really like mainly like that stripped back style of like Dark Side of the Moon and less polished again, which is weird given like the way Young Lean has been going to like more polished stuff and Blade, and kind of weird for them to like call back to this more stripped down, more kind of indie era of like psychedelic music. And this isn't even like really a rap album. This is very much a indie psychedelic something very avant-garde if you see it in that way. Um Going on to the next track, I think it's Ghosts. I think it's Ghosts, but Ghost is pretty good. Currently the most streamed song with 1.3 million streams. I'm sure that's going to increase. But that one I kind of enjoyed that song. Wasn't my favorite on the album, but I feel like that's a pretty good representation of what this album is like. The next song, Golden God, um, features this kind of a recurring theme of Young Lean's vocals being mixed a bit differently. Like usually, Young Lean relies on a lot of top end on his vocals because he mixes it below like the actual song. But for this one, he actually put the bass and mids a bit more high, and the beat was a bit. It just kind of felt like not super well mixed, but it was a very different like direction that Lean was going in on this one. But still a pretty good track. Um, there's a lot of there's a few in there that I didn't really know, like didn't really get to me too much. But the next standout for me was "Hanging from the Bridge." I think that's what it's called. But that was a pretty good, pretty emotional track. It was pretty a bit more like horrifying, not really horrifying, but like a bit more kind of like dark than the other ones. Not even lyrically, but just like the vibes overall. Given how like stripped back and atmospheric this album is, and how indie it is, I guess. The last track, "Things Happen," is probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's very nice acoustic, you know, line. Blade's singing is definitely the best on this song. Young Lean has a pretty decent verse at the back end or middle end. I don't know. There's a kind of like an outro, but Blade does do very well on this song, and yeah, overall this album is good. I think it's a good album. I think if you're into like, some alternative indie psychedelic shoegaze, maybe this isn't shoegaze, but it's a bit kind of more polished shoegaze. Definitely more psychedelic though, and kind of this modern mixing while still being kind of off kilter. It's a pretty weird album, but like if you would enjoy this, you've probably heard much weirder shit just like in your day-to-day life. But the main complaint I have with this album is this is definitely not the sound that I want Blade and Young Lean to be progressing with, because it's just not. You can't build too much off of this. Just the amount that like Young Lean and Blade were like innovating, and same thing with the rest of Drinking. Besides maybe Tyboy's kind of just put out heat and not really innovated too much since that 2015 album Tiger, and maybe a few songs off Legendary Member. But Back to Life was very much a pop rap album with production from Lisso and other um modern contemporary producers. But also just like overall, I don't really like this sound is like just not as good as like really the Young Lean albums and Blade albums that I've like enjoyed so much. And honestly, I just feel like a collab between Blade and Young Lean should be better. Like again, these are two of my favorite artists aside from like a few others like Viper. Um, I think Echo 2K is kind of tied. I really like Lil Ugly Mane's rapping if I'm like looking for that. And but still like this is like my dream collab album, and it was not my favorites from either of them, and that was just kind of disappointing. And I'm not saying they should do better, but like Young Lean at least has been kind of progressive. I really did like Stardust. That was a very nice, very interesting album. But I didn't like Sugar World too much, and kind of this way he's been slowly progressing towards like more like 80s, 70s kind of callbacks in this kind of weird way is just not really for me. I can see a lot of people enjoying it, but it's just really not for me. And I don't know, like Young Lean, do whatever you want. People are gonna enjoy it. People love your stuff. I think this is good. It's just I kind of liked your older stuff better, but not like in a way where it's being reductive. Like this is very good. Always been pretty good, and I see this album just as pretty good. But I don't think I'll be coming back to too much of it. So yep. Thanks for watching, and comment if you want to see more of this. Comment albums. I can listen to them. Um, yeah. I've decided to be a bit more original with my like rating system, so I made up this one that I think is pretty good. So it's a 1 through 10 rating system, and then I can give a thing after that, a minus or double minus or plus or double plus, and basically that just means how good I expected the album to be. Um, like if it was like a something minus, then that would mean like, oh, I expected more, And if it was a minus minus, it was like, oh, I expected way more. Like that's like your favorite artist just dropped a dud. Um, and like, you know, a plus plus would mean like, I don't know, like maybe maybe like, I don't know, MGK just dropped album of the year. Like kind of my thing. Like I might like, you know, make it more. It might be like 3 plus, something like that. But like that's not like the maximum. Just like the more pluses, more minuses is just like, you know, my expectations. And if my expectations are succeeded, that probably means I enjoyed. That means I enjoyed listening to the album. But the numbers just like, you know, how like basically how much I would come back to the album, how much I'd actually listen to the album, how much I like it. You know, I actually like it, but not like, you know, how much I enjoyed it when I was listening to it. Like, you know, if like an artist you don't like drops like some good stuff, like that's better than what they normally do. Like you're surprised, you're happy for that, but like you're never going to listen to it again if it's just like a bit above average cuz it's still not that good. But yeah, for this one, I think I'm feeling like probably like a 6 minus, something like that. Right, yeah, 6 minus. See ya.